It's crazy how many Amazon sellers care so much about how much revenue they're generating, and the net profit seems to be an afterthought. So, question for you. Would you rather generate $1 million in sales and a zero profit, or $500,000 in sales and $100,000 in net profit? I'm really hoping that your answer is the latter. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to calculate your net profit before and after you start selling on Amazon. So let's get to it. You need to be thinking about net profit even before you start sourcing your product, and definitely before you start selling on Amazon. That's why we've created this net profit calculator, and I'm going to leave the link in the description below. It's completely free, and it's a resource so you can at least estimate what profit you can have, what net profit you can have, even before you start sourcing your products. So first, after you analyze your competition, try to estimate the product price for what you're intending to sell. Then you can input right here on the cell. Next, you need to figure out the product costs, packaging costs, and shipping fees. You probably won't know that for certain until your products are being manufactured and you can get more accurate quotes with your suppliers, but you can definitely get an estimate when you go to Alibaba.com and you communicate with certain suppliers. Don't just grab the prices that you see, the estimated prices you see as soon as you do a quick search and see some of that range, because some of those I would say are very, very off. Wait until you request a quote, you give the supplier a little bit more details so they can give you a more accurate quote for product costs, packaging costs, and shipping costs. You can always give them a random, for example, if you're selling on Amazon.com, a random USA zip code just to get an estimate of the shipping costs. Next, we have the Amazon referral fee, Amazon fulfillment fee, and storage fees. Those are all of the fees associated, or most of the fees associated when you're selling through Amazon FBA. And you can know, or you can estimate what those fees are going to be before you start selling. The referral fee you can see based on the product category, and it's going to be a percentage of the product price, the sale price. The fulfillment fee is going to be based on the category a little bit as well, but mostly on dimensions and weight. And you can also estimate that through the link right here. You can find all of these links through this Google Sheet. You just have to click the link right here, and it's going to take you to Seller Central and show you the exact article that has all of the details to where you're going to be able to place your product within one of those sizing tiers, for example, to get that estimate fulfillment fee. Also, storage fees. A lot of people ignore this in the beginning because it's not that significant, but I would definitely go ahead and count that in. It's based on cubic feet, so the volume of your product. So especially if you're selling something that is oversized, or if it's a seasonal product that you intend to have it the majority of the time during Q4, the last quarter of the year, Amazon storage fees are higher. So definitely take that into account. Other costs to consider for your product are marketing and advertising costs. So PPC, or off Amazon ads. And a lot of people just ignore this in the beginning. They think that their product are just going to sell as soon as it hits Amazon. But the truth is that even if your product is a success, having marketing and advertising, at least a little bit of margin budget, is definitely a no-brainer for you to really scale that product. So I would highly recommend that you do some estimates for marketing and advertising expenses and any other additional fees that you may have. You have some room here if, for example, you have some sort of handling fee. If someone will be handling the fulfillment of this for you, or someone will be packaging, there's some specific labor costs you can add here in the additional fees row. Then lastly, you're going to get your gross profit per unit and gross profit percentage per unit. Then you know if this is going to be worth it or not for you to pursue this product. And on the next tab right here, you're going to have the monthly profit, an estimate of your monthly profit, because there's certain expenses, as I'm going to talk soon, that you may not have it on a product basis, but you might have it on a company-wide level. So if you can estimate how many units you're planning on selling per month after doing your competitor analysis, seeing, how many units the average of your top competitors are selling, you can get an estimate of how many you're most likely going to sell. Granted, you're doing everything right. Then you can put it right here. And some monthly costs may include softwares, including the one that I'm going to be mentioning in this video, software subscriptions, certain tools. If you have certain subscriptions that you need specifically for selling on Amazon, you can put right here your Amazon Seller Central account subscription that if you're selling as in a professional plan, you need to pay $40 per month. If you have any VAs, any employees, any assistants, if there's someone helping you, package or do anything that you pay them on a monthly basis, you add them here, business insurance, and any other additional expenses. After you input all of this in, you can have an idea of your monthly profit, which is extremely important. Again, I cannot stress enough for you to at least have an idea before you even start sourcing your products. However, after you start sourcing, there are a lot of expenses and a lot of transactions that happen as well. And a lot of people may lose sight of their actual net profit. So now I'll be showing you the tool that we use to be on top of all of our numbers and know every single profit margin, every single cost, every single transaction that happens within our business. And a little bonus is with this tool, you can even input some numbers, some revenue numbers that you're having from other sales channels. So if you're selling your products also on Etsy, on your Shopify, you can input those revenue numbers and any other expenses within this tool, and everything's going to be taken into account for you to see your numbers overall and you really know your net profit. And that tool is Jungle Scout. Jungle Scout used to have another tool called Fetcher, but not too long ago, they decided to discontinue that tool and just make that feature available within their whole package. I'll be leaving the link to Jungle Scout in the resources below, and you get 15% discount by using that link, and you can purchase their subscriptions on a yearly basis or monthly basis. And you can look at what each package includes because maybe you might be interested in more features, but if you want this specific feature to calculate your net profit, you can use any of the packages, including the basics. So what you need is going to be this right here. If I scroll down, sales analytics, that's where you're going to need. You can see it's included in all of the packages. So if this is the only feature that you need, you can do the most basic package. The first thing that you want to do after logging into your account is going to be to connect your Amazon account to Jungle Scout. This way, Jungle Scout can pull all of the information, all of the details about your products, all of your sales transactions, and all of the necessary numbers for our calculations. And don't forget to also connect your PPC account. This may need to happen in 2 separate steps. You just have to follow all of the steps from that main page once you create your account. And this way, Jungle Scout can also pull all of the data from your PPC ads as well. After you've done that, go to that side menu, go to Manage Products and click on Product Costs, because that's what we need to do first is input all of the numbers that Jungle Scout cannot guess. For example, the product cost, so we can start getting those calculations happening. Once you're in the product cost page, you see that you'll be able to download a CSV file if you want to do this whole process that I'm about to show you in bulk. So if you click on that, Jungle Scout is going to email you the sheets, the Google Sheets or Excel file for you to complete everything. And once you've completed everything, you can save and come back to upload cost, and then the whole process is going to be done at once. But if you want to do manually, I'm going to show you how to do that next. All you have to do is find your product. All of your products should be loaded here on this page. And if it's not, then wait a little bit longer. Maybe the whole syncing process hasn't completed yet. Then you're going to click on Add Costs. Next, there's going to be a pop-up window. And the first thing that you're going to do is choose the effective date. So do you want Jungle Scout to start considering these numbers starting on a specific date or since the product launch? This is very important, especially if you had different prices if you've been selling for a while, for example, and you used to have a certain product cost, or like shipping fees or cheaper last year and now it's more expensive. And if you're looking to get accurate numbers for that period of time, then you need to make sure that you choose the correct effective date. In this case, let's just say it's been since product launch. So you select that. Next, you add all of the cost details. So the cost of goods per unit, how much it costs to produce just one unit of that product, the shipping costs, and any miscellaneous cost. That can be any handling fee, anything extra. If you want to count, for example, your packaging costs separate, you can put as a miscellaneous cost, or anything that you want, so that you can see that breakdown cost separated. Once you're done, you're going to see the total right here calculated for you, and all you have to do is click on add. You're going to be doing that for every single product, or as I said, you can do that in bulk. And once you've completed this, you go back to that side menu and go to Sales Analytics and click on Other Transactions. Now we're going to be adding all of the operating expenses, or as I mentioned before, another revenue that you may be generating. So we're going to be adding these transactions. We can do that in bulk. The same way, you can click on the download CSV button and download that Excel or Google Sheet template. Fill out everything that I'm going to show you next for all of the transactions that you want. And come back here, go to upload entries, and everything's going to be uploaded at once. Just a little disclaimer that if you have already filled out all of the expenses and now you want to add, let's say, 10 more expenses, once you download your CSV file, you're going to see that all of the expenses that you already input are there. And if you just leave them there and add extra expenses, all of the ones that you left once you upload are going to be counted twice. So make sure you delete those and have a fresh file with just what you want to add if you're doing this process, for the second, third, or whatever time. And if you want to do everything manually, you just have to click on Add Entry right here. First thing you need to do is add a category. So this is going to be very helpful at the end when I show you the profit and loss statement, where you can see the breakdown of your numbers by category. And it's really good to stay organized. So they already have a few categories loaded in automatically, but you can create any categories that you want. If you want to create, you just have to write it right here, press enter, and then find it on the drop down list. And once you're done, just select that and we can move on to the next step. Next step is going to be the transaction level. So this transaction that you're adding, is this on a company level or on a product level? So for example, if you're doing software subscriptions, then most likely this is going to be an expense for your whole company. You're going to be using the software for all of your products. If we're talking about product images, then most likely it's going to be on a product level. Then you would select product level, and there would show this drop down menu would appear, and then you just have to find that specific product so you can associate that transaction, that expense, or that revenue with. Next, you can select the date. So if there's a specific date where this occur, you incur that expense. And especially if this is going to be a reoccurring expense or revenue, then it's very important that you can try to keep accurate and choose the correct date of the month that this happens, or date of the week that this happens. So choose your date. Next, we're going to add a description. So you already have your category, software subscriptions, for example, but what kind of software? Put some description here so you can easily understand your numbers later when you're analyzing them. So for example, in this case, the Jungle Scout tool. Next, you're going to set the amount. And in the amount, as I mentioned, you can put an expense or you can put a revenue. And I can move myself out of the way for you to see. There you go. So as I said, you can add this amount as an expense or as another revenue, as a positive number. If you want to do the first one, you would add it on the top, or the second one, revenue, at the bottom. In this case, we're going to do an expense. And lastly, you're going to decide on the frequency. So this can be a one-time amount, one-time expense of revenue, annually, monthly, weekly, or daily. And once you've selected your frequency, then you just have to click on the check mark and that expense is going to be added. And just to show you a quick example of the revenue, you would select again your category, for example, Etsy sales, company-wide, company level revenue, then select your date. Usually I input those numbers for the last day of the month. And your description, for example, the revenue for March of 2022, the amount, the frequency of one time, because numbers will most likely change. And again, I would press the check mark. And one of the things that I really like about this is that if you choose the frequency, anything other than one time, if it's daily, monthly, weekly, you will see that you only have to set this once. And every time, let's say you chose the 15th of a monthly frequency, every 15th of the month, Jungle Scout would automatically have that expense added to your account. So it would look something like this. You would have this little arrow that you can click to expand and see all of your, in this case, software subscriptions so stocked. So you're going to see that it's going around the 28th of every month. And one more thing that you can see within the same page is within this other transaction page, you can see the second tab that is called the FBA inbound shipping. And this is just where Jungle Scout is going to show you all of the expenses that you have incurred when you have purchased shipping labels through Amazon. So a lot of other tools do not even show you all of that. And in this case, you have this at your disposal so you can start analyzing all of that type of expense as well. And next, we're going to go back to the side menu. And now we're going to click under Sales Analytics. We're going to click on Profit Overview so we can start analyzing our numbers. Once you're here, the first thing that you want to make sure you select is the date range that you're analyzing these numbers. So you can do that through that drop-down menu. You can select one of these predetermined day ranges, less 7 days, less 30 days, month to date, year to date, or you can select a custom range. As long as it's within 12 months, you can choose the starting date and then the end date. And once you're done, click Apply. And now we can start analyzing our numbers. So at the very top, there is the summary, 3 boxes that show up the summary. So for that specific date range, how many units have been sold? And you can see the breakdown. There's the big number and the breakdown. How many units have been shipped? How many promo units? So if you have promotions going on, coupons or anything like that, how many of those units were promo units and how many are pending units? So that's specifically if you've selected a date close to your present date, then there's going to be a few units that are still pending, that they haven't been shipped yet. Next, we have the net margin. So this way you can see your total net profit on a company level of all of your sales for that specific date range after every single transaction. And that's what I love about this tool, is that you're counting literally everything. Product images or software or any fee that you have incurred. If your shipping fees have gone up, if they have gone down, then everything's being accounted for and you getting the exact number afterwards. So they'll give you the net profit as well as your revenue. Everything that is being considered in the calculation, they're going to show you on the breakdown right here. And then lastly, there's your ROI. So they'll show you your gross profit plus your cost of goods sold, the unit cost plus supplier shipping. And if you are ever uncertain of what any of this means, you can always hover over this little question mark, and it's going to show you how they arrived at that number. What is the formula? Or they're going to explain what that specific term means. So in this case, ROI is the gross profit divided by cost of goods sold, which is unit cost plus supplier shipping. Next, we have these tabs at the bottom right here. We have the net profit, and here you can see the breakdown of everything. So net profit, your revenue numbers, your cost of goods sold, your gross profit, operating expenses, everything that you've added in that arrived at that final number. And on the side, you can see the graph as well. So you can understand if, depending on which view you're doing, if it's daily view or monthly view, that you can actually select right over here, weekly view. Then you can see how, the whole pattern is going. If you're going up, if you're going down overall, or if there's a clear pattern. Usually like midweek you do really well, and then weekends it's really low, and that can inform you on better strategies. Next, we have revenue. So all of the details about revenue and all of the breakdown of the numbers, so you can understand. It won't just give you the total number, they'll explain what each contribution for that number. The Amazon sales, refunds, reimbursements, promo rebates, other revenue, anything else that you have added, Etsy sales, Shopify sales, any other revenue, and then your total number. Next, we have costs. So cost, just as with the previous two, you can see the summary on the side, you can see the graph, and most likely with costs, you're going to have these little arrows that you can expand on the summary right here. So if you click on the arrow, you're going to see not only the explanation, so order fees, what does that mean? Those are fees related to orders such as FBA fulfillment or the commission fee. And then you can see what each one of it, the amount of each one. So commission fee, you can see the breakdown of everything. And you can also scroll down the whole page and you're going to see this cost breakdown. And here you can hover over each one to see. It not only is going to show you, proportion wise, where is the majority of the costs coming from. The majority, as you can see right here, is coming from order fees, 40%. And then 24% is coming from unit costs. And then you can just hover. If you can't see some of these, you hover and then it's going to expand to show you the exact number and percentage. Next, going back, we're going to go to the units sold tab. And again, you're going to see all of that breakdown of units sold, units shipped, pending units, and total units sold again. And lastly, PPC. Now you can see the graph, very useful graph of a comparison of the PPC spend. So everything that you have spent on your PPC campaigns, PPC sales, so sales that were completely associated to PPC clicks, and as well as your organic sales. And a lot of times you can see it's very well correlated. When you do really well with sales that are from PPC, your organic sales most of the time improve as well. And once you're done analyzing all of your numbers, you can also see all of this breakdown on a product level. So you can analyze. It's great to know how your company overall is doing, but perhaps you have certain products that are doing really well and certain products that are bringing all of these overall numbers down. So you can go to that second tab, the multi-product view, and here you're going to see the list of all of your products. And again, you have that range, day range that you can control to see these numbers. But you can see several columns. There's the total sales, cost of goods sold, operating expenses, everything that you have added, net profit, gross margin, ROI, unit shipped, promo unit shipped, pending units. So you can actually organize and sort the whole list by any of these. You just have to click on them, and it can be from highest to lowest. So for example, from net profit, which product is generating the most net profit? It can be from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. And you can also edit these columns. So if you go to the settings button right here, you can click and then customize the columns that are showing. And now heading back to our product profit overview, you can also just search any product that you want to find, specifically any product, through their name using the search box. And once you find the one that you want to analyze and see all of the breakdown of the numbers, you just have to click on the product. Once you click, you're going to see this familiar page that we just saw on a company level, but now it's on a product level. So again, you're going to see the summary at the top, units sold, net margin, and ROI, and all of those different tabs: net profit, revenue, cost, units sold, PPC, and if you scroll down, also the breakdown of the costs. And as I said, you can just hover over anything that you can't really see, you know, the total number, the percentage for that category, and it's going to expand and show it to you. And now, last but not least, we're going to go back to that side menu, go to Sales Analytics, and we're going to see our profit and loss statement. So this is a very, very useful and helpful overall idea of how your company is doing. And it's used a lot too if you want, you know, to get investors or people are trying to understand your company overall. You're going to see all of the revenue, all of the positive numbers, and then all of the negative numbers, all of the expenses, and then your total net profit. So first, of course, select your date range. So for example, the whole last year, January 1st to December 31st. You're going to see all of the revenue that you have generated, and you might have to click on the little arrow to expand some of them. If you have added other revenue, for example, you can just expand and it's going to show the breakdown. It's going to show you all of cost of goods sold, you know, all of the needed fees associated with running your business, cost of goods sold, PPC fees, order fees, all of that. And then it's going to give you your gross profit in your gross margin. It's going to give you gross profit. So what is your profit before all of the other operating expenses? Things that it's most likely, for example, your choice, you are opting in for a software subscription, or you're opting in for this type of business insurance. So up to here, it's something that you just cannot avoid. I mean, except for, you know, negotiating the unit cost or something like that. But if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see all of your operating expenses. So again, everything that you have added manually, as well as your net profit and, you know, your profit percentage. So this is how you stay on top of your numbers and calculate your net profit, or better yet, you have Jungle's calculate your net profit for you. And again, one of my favorite features is to be able to see that my business is being profitable overall, even including all of the other sales channels, every single transaction. You just have to input those numbers here. So highly, highly recommend. And again, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. And if you did find this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button right there on your screen and hit the subscribe button as well, so you don't miss any of our future videos. There's tons of really helpful tutorials and a lot of value packed into our videos, so don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, if you have another software, another tool that you use to calculate your net profit, share with the community and leave that in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.